What's up guys, so I'm going to do some quick analysis today looking at trades I'm going to be placing on gold. Over the last couple of days we identified sort of that breakout of this strong bear trend you can see here. So that was ongoing since around sort of Tuesday to Wednesday, 18th and 19th of July. So it's been proceeding for around the last month. So I'm going to be looking at possible shorts today, so I'm going to go down into the 2 hour time frame. You can see here, this is the bear trend we were on about. We caught this breakout and then we've just been following the trend over maybe the last couple of days to weeks since the breakout last week. But you can see here now we have reached this sort of key support and resistance level. Price and momentum have slowed down, so I'm going to be looking for short ideas today. So I'm just going to get straight stuck into the analysis. I'm going to draw my support and resistance here. My support and resistance is where price has rejected off multiple times, where price has had a pivot or it's slowed down with momentum, had a pivot and then pushed through. So you can see here, I'll identify it with these small arrows. We've had one pivot here, one momentum slowdown and a pivot correction here. So we had the pivot, momentum slowed down and then it eventually pushed through, showing that this was still a key area of support and resistance that slowed down price momentum. Obviously we had some key event here that then managed to push price through. And then we have another pivot rejection here off the top side, so put another one there. And then fast forward to today's date, we've had another pivot rejection here. We're back at possibly getting another pivot rejection, I guess we'll see. That's obviously the main trade idea I'm looking at for today. So we're going to put a little circle here because this is the key level that we are currently at, and obviously if we push above here to around maybe 50 to 55, it could be an invalidation zone. So let's start off by dropping into the hour time frame so we can sort of get this trend properly. I'm going to use not a regression trend, but a rotated angle just to cover the entire sort of trend. I'm not going to use my trend lines today. I know a lot of people have been sort of confused and commenting like, why do you still use trend lines and stuff? Well, I use trend lines as support and resistance dynamic lines because it's the exact same. It's just sort of key price areas where we're all seeing and trading off of. So for example, the support and resistance level here that I've identified is literally no different from this support and resistance here, which is dynamically going up to the right, northeast. Like they are the exact same. It's just what we're seeing, the price levels we're seeing, all these key sort of data levels, and we're all putting pending orders on, we're all selling there, we're all taking profits there. So then they create sort of these same key levels that we're all sort of trading off of, which creates obviously the higher highs, the higher lows, which creates the trend, which creates sort of that sort of support. Because, for example, if we're here and we've had this rejection and then we've come down, we're coming up the trend and we're coming back to here, the 100,000 or however many people who were watching gold at the time are also seeing that previously over the last once or twice times we've reached sort of this top dynamic level, we've had a rejection and people will start sort of closing out their buys, they're looking at sells, putting pending orders in, so the price momentum will be slowing down, the order volume will be changing, and that's how you get these order clusters and it creates these pivots. So the dynamic support and resistance is just as important as the horizontal support and resistance. So you can see here we've got that key rejection level. We're currently at the key rejection level here. We've got this strong bull trend here. Maybe I can make it a bit wider on the bottom side so we're covering sort of all aspects. It's a bit better. Now we've got some rejections on this trend here. Obviously I haven't used a trend line today, it's just sort of this rotating rectangle, but you can see here rejection, 2 rejections. We could maybe class it as 3 rejections, but it's a general sort of area. And then on the top side here, we've got these 2 rejections here, obviously this current one, and then we have got a bit of foreplay around here. We could maybe chuck one in and adjust the trend correctly. Something like that. Obviously, they don't all have to be sort of pinpoint accurate. Like for example, you can see this one exactly touched, and then we had maybe sort of a red flag event that broke above. Here it didn't quite manage to touch, but it's just sort of that general area still. Which obviously, because as we're approaching there, everybody's going to be, as I said, switching up the trades and everything and mixing and matching. So let's have a look at, obviously, for example, the bottom side of the trend. You can see here it is catching nicely on this dynamic level. Let's see if we can match it up with a key support and resistance level, which we might have here around this 1930 level. You can see here we've got these spikes of what some people would call liquidity. I just call them red flag events, news events, you know. I would say that is possibly our target though for today. As you can see here, price has been chasing this level various times. It pushed through, came back above, chased the level, broke up, had this rejection, come back, had this little chase and rejection pivot here. It also matches up with sort of possibly the bottom of our dynamic trend, depending on obviously how long it takes to get down to here. We could see ourselves maybe at 37 maybe. I think anything below sort of this 26 to 29 area would be an invalidation zone, sorry. So we'll actually drop that down here. So we'll just put invalidation zone. And that's here. This is going to be our target. So just put in target. And then maybe we'll have sort of target 2 here. We've got a lot of red flag data today for the US, so I'm imagining price is probably going to be slow in anticipation of that and non-farm payroll on Friday. So I guess we'll see how they are doing. Can also see where the fib lines up to. I believe that will be a similar area. See the fib there. It's going to maybe push it a little bit. Got the 78 that lines up with the 61 actually lines up with sort of this support and resistance here, so that would be interesting to see if price sort of chases these tops here or does push here. I mean, if for example I adjusted the trend to match the top side of those pushes here and here, it does sort of give that room to match with the 61 maybe. Where is that at? That's it, 1925. I mean, if the red flag data today does send it down, it could easily reach there within the trend. So I'm going to leave my target 2 on my first identified level first, and we'll put this as maybe, we'll put a little question mark here actually. I think that's the best thing we can do, right? A little question mark. Where are we? If it's even better. We'll just use it with text that I'm showing. There we go. So we'll put a little question mark there to say possible target 3. So we've got, I should really change that around, that doesn't really make sense. That's going to be the first target, and that's going to be the second target. So you can see here already, just basically going off of price action today, we've identified a possible short trade. So you can see this key support and resistance level here. We're looking for price to sort of reject off of here, have a trend validation. What I mean by trend validation is just obviously if price pushes up here and breaks up above this trend, that's sort of invalidating that trend, even though it's still continuing as a bullish momentum. It sort of invalidates that trend and sort of creates a new sort of maybe a bullish flag or pennant or whatever. So a trend validation to me would be sort of a pivot correction, and then sort of price slowing down and another pivot around here. And then sort of if we can get price to sort of close out and hold around here for today, that would be a trend validation for me to show that there would be more sort of order clusters and people looking to get more entries around here, which is going to push price to create a new higher high. So yeah, so for today, just going to use sort of simple price action, order flow. Obviously, like I said, if price pushes up to here, I'll just be sort of patiently waiting to see what price does. If it sort of rejects and bounces off of the top side, ideally probably going to set a pending order below these sort of two moving averages, which is the 21 and the 9 or the 8. The 21 and the 8 EMAs. You can see the 8 is currently carrying trend, so we'll wait for the 8 to cross over the 21, get a solid rejection, a lower high, and then we can take a short position maybe around 1940 to 35 and 30. So yeah, not bad. That's what I'm looking at for today.